Now, I can't stress this enough. We're dealing with humans. Throw all logic and reasoning right out the window. What would you rather have? Free money, percentage off, or maybe some dope swag? Well, I guess it all depends, and you need a little bit more context to really make that decision, right? Well, that's what we're going to be discussing in today's episode. Whether you're looking to get a prospect to start your service for the first time, getting a customer back who you've lost over the weeks, or maybe just trying to get someone to refer a friend or participate in a contest, knowing which incentives are going to be the best suited for that person, that situation, or that request is something that is crucial in your success at getting them to follow through with what you'd like them to do, i.e. jump through said hoop, is going to come down to making sure you've got the right carrot, because we can't really offer them the stick in this situation. No one lets you beat your customers anymore. Kidding, you can totally beat your customers. Kidding, again, it's like a inception kidding. Just want to make sure nobody's beating their customers. What's going on, eaters and feeders? My name is Casey Cochran, and on this channel, we discuss business, entrepreneur mindset, tips, hacks, and all sorts of other things that I've amassed during my experience growing Florida's highest rated meal prep company from nothing, with no experience, no connections, and no funding. So if you want to learn about marketing, production, leadership, software, and everything in between, I invite you to subscribe and make sure you have your alert notification on so you don't miss out on any of my weekly content. You're also going to want to check out mealprepbiz101.com and the links in the show notes. I've got tons of free content and resources that are just going to make your life and growing your business so much easier. You're definitely not going to want to miss out on anything I've got to offer. I've got a free ebook, free boot camps, free software that will run your entire business. I've got consulting. I've got a private group dedicated exclusively to discussing the meal prep business and so much more. So after this episode, make sure you dive deeper and find the resources you need. But for now, let's jump into today's episode.
Welcome to our channel where we go behind the scenes for meal plan company Fit Food Fresh and other local businesses across South Florida. Make sure you hit the subscribe and alerts so you never miss a video, and hit us with any questions or suggestions.
Which incentives work best? Well, what kind of incentives do we have to work with? The most common three are going to be money or some kind of dollar amount off, a percentage off, or swag. Those are really the most common things that we're going to see in this industry, right? Now, while they all might seem interchangeable, they all seem similar, right? I assure you that there's going to be some nuances and some considerations that you're going to want to be making before you implement any of them. What kind of considerations? Well, who are you offering it to? How big is the offer? What are you asking them to do in exchange for what you're offering them? Where are they in their customer journey with you? But let's start with discussing the difference between those three different types of incentives, right? Now let's start off with a dollar amount. X dollars off, $10 off, $20 off, $50 off, whatever you want that incentive to be. What's the difference between offering someone a certain dollar amount off and a percentage off? Well, there's a couple things to be considered. Number one, what feels more valuable to you? If I were to give you a gift card with $50 on it and say it could only be used at this store, but this is $50 towards your purchase, that feels like $50 pretty much in your hand, especially if you're planning on spending money with that company next week, as people often do with the meal prep company. Now, if I were to give you a percentage off, that feels a little bit more like a coupon, right? Now, there definitely are benefits to both, but as far as the out of the gate difference between a percentage and a dollar amount, like I said, that 50% off versus the $50 off, the $50 off feels like a $50 bill that I've got, and I've got to spend it with you. Whereas the percentage off feels like a coupon, and nobody really feels like they have to spend a coupon. Unless it's a really good coupon with an expiration and it's a product that they're already a fan of, you might be better off just offering them a dollar amount that they can apply towards a purchase. And by all means, you can restrict it so that they have to spend a minimum dollar amount or buy a certain amount of items before they're able to use any of these options. Now, while the dollar amount off does feel like money, the benefit of the percentage off means that it scales with my purchase, right? If I get 20% off whatever money I spend with you, I feel like I save more money when I spend more money. And that might coax me into spending a bit more money with you, right? If I were to spend $100 with you, I get $20 off. If I spend $200 with you, I get $40 off. Now, obviously, someone is only going to be purchasing so much food at a time, right? Unless you're allowing them to prepay and stack credits, that percentage off also has that limiting factor when it comes down to food as to what I can spend right now. So the incentive of saving more as you spend more does have a cap of realism when your customer is considering how much of your product, how much of your service they actually need in the given time that they're going to be able to use it. Now, swag comes in many different forms. It could be a cool t-shirt, a hat. We've done keychains, we've done shakers, we've done resistance bands, we've done bracelets. There's all sorts of swag, but once you have some really cool swag that you're proud of and you think people are definitely going to dig, how much do you think that is really worth to somebody? You might be surprised. There's been times where we've paid like $8 to $10 to have a shirt made. So our cost on it is $8 to $10. And we've run A and B tests to see where the value of something like a shirt actually falls with the consumer. How do we do this? Well, we offer 2 incentives. We split a group of people that we're sending them to just as an experiment, and half of them get the offer of doing XYZ and receiving a free shirt. You got to include a picture of your free shirt, or $25 off or 20% off. Now, when you offer a percentage versus swag, we've seen more often than not people go for the swag. But when you offer a dollar amount to the swag at about the $20 to $25 range, you're starting to see people starting to switch over to the dollar amount. At $15, a lot of them are going to go with the t-shirt. Somewhere around $20 to $25, that's where people start feeling like the shirt and the $25 are a similar value, and you start seeing the 50-60% variance where they start going over towards that dollar amount. Not necessarily a bad thing. If your food cost is lower than the shirt, let's say your food cost on $25 worth of food is $8 and the shirt costs you $10 to make, you would be better off having them go for that $25 offer. So these are other things to be considering, what your actual hard costs are, not just what the incentive is. What does it cost you to offer these incentives? Now, I can't stress this enough. We're dealing with humans. Throw all logic and reasoning right out the window. Because while we may say and seem like we're logical beings, at the core of it, we're being directed by a child in an adult suit. So don't think someone's going to be rationalizing your expense on the t-shirt or the hat or the keychain or whatever versus the dollar amount of the coupon that you're offering them. Now, you do want to see what your audience is going to respond the most to based on the dollar point, based on the price point of your meals, based on the demographic of your audience, based on what their interests are. There's going to be different swag incentives that might outperform and reach a higher comparable dollar amount in their mind. And there might be, more people who are just willing to go for a percentage off or a dollar amount, and they have that attraction to something that reflects more of money or savings versus getting another t-shirt they can wear to the gym, no matter how cool the t-shirt is. Now, aside from the demographic or the type of person that you're offering this to, the other very important thing is what's the context of the offer? What are you trying to get me to do in exchange for the t-shirt, the hat, the percentage off, the $25 off, or whatever else? Some of these incentives actually perform better based on what the context of the offer and what the request is. For instance, going back to swag is normally very effective when there's like a contest or some kind of giveaway. Maybe you have some kind of an event that you're participating in, a gym event, and there's first, second, and third place. It's great to give everybody a t-shirt because they're walking around with a billboard with your company's name on it. Ours is down there. I don't know if you can see it. It also makes a great secondary or tertiary prize for people who are runners up in any kind of a contest. Having a dollar amount off or a gift card that has a set monetary value is also great for events and prizes. The money would be a great grand prize. Now, I don't know if you want to offer actual cash or just stick with gift cards. Both are great. I prefer gift cards because that forces you to spend it with me in order for you to redeem it and really get the benefit out of it. But if you want to offer cash incentives, that always gets people's attention. Dollar amount is also great for a new customer. In certain situations, if you're offering them a high enough dollar amount and there's a minimum spend requirement, it could be good. I like using percentages for new customers. Speaking of contests and giveaways, a dollar amount is also a pretty powerful incentive to offer as a grand prize, maybe even a cash grand prize, but I would usually like to make that a gift card. Why? Because obviously the gift card is going to be coming down to what your actual food cost is. If it's a $100 gift card, but your food cost is 20 or 30 or 25 bucks, then you're obviously going to be coming out ahead versus taking a Chris Benjamin out of your pocket and handing it to them with no guarantee that they're going to be spending that money with you. Now, offering a percentage off is sometimes great for new people or anybody who you're trying to get back. Resurrections are great because they know they are willing to spend their money with you before. If you're offering a discount to them to come back and try you, they might be more inclined to come back. I also like using a dollar amount in that. As I mentioned, using a percentage is great for increasing the amount that they're spending. If you're just getting $50 off, I know that's a flat amount. Regardless of how much I spend, I'm only going to be getting $50 off. If I get 20% off, then the more I spend, the more I save. And that might encourage a consumer to go for a snack or a dessert or a juice or some other items on the menu that they normally shy away from. It's nice to get them to experiment a little bit more, increase the LTV, and maybe find something else on your menu that they're going to end up continuing to purchase well after that coupon's been used. Now, would you use swag on somebody who's brand new? Probably not. They're not a fan of you yet. Would you use swag as an incentive to get somebody to come back to your service? Probably not, because the odds are the reason they left wasn't because they didn't get a t-shirt or they didn't get a hat. In those instances, I would lean more towards a percentage off or a flat dollar amount off. Now, one of the friction points you might experience when you're offering them a percentage off, especially if it's a round number and it kind of drops the price of your meals to a certain amount. Let's say you give them 20% off and your meals go from $10 to $8, they might be very comfortable paying that $8 amount and have a little bit of resistance when they have to go back to the full amount. Whereas if you gave them a dollar amount off, they would look more at the entire bill and then understand they're getting a bit off this one time. It feels more like a temporary thing instead of an expectation to keep it ongoing like a percentage would. Another great thing about offering someone a dollar amount is you can equate that to the amount of meals they'll be able to purchase. If your meals are $10 a piece and I'm offering you $50 to come back, I can say, hey, I'm going to buy you dinner for a week. Just give us a try. Now, obviously, you're going to want to set some kind of a minimum purchase agreement so that they have to buy at least 10 meals or 15 meals, so you're not just sending them free food. But the idea of someone paying for something and being able to directly relate it to what the benefit is to that customer might be something that's more enticing than just a percentage off. One of the most important things I want you to do is to experiment yourself. Do an A/B test. Play around with what works. Again, the variables of the price of your meals, your demographic, and what the approach is and what the request is, these are all going to kind of determine whether or not one incentive might work better than another. Another incentive I didn't mention before is food. You sell food. Maybe you've got a new item on the menu and you want to invite people to try it out, whether you're trying to expand the purchases of existing members or to coax somebody back on. Maybe you found out that they had a big hankering for your chicken parmesan. Maybe the chef's redone it, or maybe you're just going to use that to draw them back. Like, hey, Bob, I know you love chicken parm. We've got it on the menu. We'd love to have you back. How about I buy you a couple of your favorite dishes to try us and see if we're still as good as you remember? It's also great if you've got new menu categories that you're adding. Maybe you're adding desserts. Maybe you're adding snacks. Maybe you're adding juices. Maybe you're adding new juices and new snacks and new desserts, and you want to see if you can get people hooked on them so they purchase it into the future. Well, a free sample is a great way to get them to try other items on your menu and assure that they're putting that order in for not only those items, but their other items to take advantage of the free offer. You might be surprised as to what kind of silly incentives will coax people into spending more money with you. We've had people come back and put an entire food order in just because we offered free desserts for a promotion that we were doing, and they saw it in the email and they figured that was enough incentive, and it convinced them to spend over $100 with us in order to receive what really amounts to $6 of a free snack or dessert. If you want to learn more tips and tricks and hear more of my insights on sales, retention, customer service, and so much more, I invite you again to subscribe and make sure you hit those alert notifications so you don't miss out on any of my weekly content. You're also going to want to check out mealprepbiz101.com and the links in the show notes, because as always, there's a ton of invaluable content and resources. A lot of it's 100% free that has the sole purpose of making your business and your life easier. Until my next episode, my name is Casey. This is Meal Prep